There are some things that I will never get tired of looking at, guys, and this is one of them. Log hauler Jesse with a full load of logs. You know how I've been sweating this out, so I'm excited for this one. Let's see what he's got here, all right? So what do we got here, log hauler Jesse?
Full pile of drains here for you.
Oh boy, so this is mostly maple, mostly ash?
Yeah, majority 90% maple.
All right.
It's the right side.
So guys, log hauler Jesse and I had been wheeling and dealing, and we've worked out a deal with a logger. And I'll explain everything to you here when we get this unloaded. But maybe we'll get log hauler Jesse to give us his side of the story on this too. You know, this is a learning experience for me. This is a learning experience for me. I have no idea what I'm doing, but I'm just gonna tell you how I see things from my perspective. And then Jesse can let us know his too. But let's not interfere with your busy day, right? So you're gonna get these unloaded, and then we'll spend about 10 minutes gathering. That's probably all the time you have, right?
Yeah, that's about it.
All right, here we go. Guys, our master plan, you know, we're moving all of our production to the back 40, but I am so hurting for logs right now, and I was getting ready to move out of this area. I told him, let's just put them right here so I can get these processed and get them into the drying yard. That'll help me get caught up for the season next year. So that's why we're stacking them in here. All right, let's see what Jesse's doing here. Just to give you your perspective, I am well far out of the way. It looks like I'm a lot closer on the screen than what I really am. So, trust me, when you're close to one of these things, you just have that inner voice telling you, watch out, bud. Guys, I will be saying this probably until the day I retire, but procurement, there's a crooked log there. Getting my logs in is my biggest opportunity. It's what I struggle with the most, and probably my biggest miscalculation when I was in my planning phase and developing this business model. I had no idea that finding logs at my level of consumption would be this much of a challenge. I mean, what the heck? I just felt firewood grows on trees, you know? What did I know? It takes so much work. And, you know, I was hoping that a logger would just show up and say, hey, you need logs? And I would say, sure, yeah. But that doesn't happen. And while I have relationships, you know, I've talked about what's been going on in the timber industry, at least around here. And a lot of these logs aren't making it to the firewood market this year because of the price of lumber. It seems that all of the mills, all the blocking mills and sawmills have been buying up as anything they can get their hands on. So the loggers can get a lot more money for this wood at the sawmills than they can selling them for firewood. You know, in this case here, you know, remember, log hauler Jesse is not a logger. He just drives a truck. So he contracts his services out to loggers, and the loggers tell him, go pick up that load and take it to this address. what I was able to do with this was I found a logger that had a need, and I'm obviously a customer with a need, and I was able to be the middleman that brought log hauler Jesse together with this logger, and it has resulted in I think a moderate stash of logs that can get delivered here. I think we have 3 loads, but what I think might happen is this can be a new relationship too for log hauler Jesse. He can add this contact to his list, and that can help him in driving his own business, keeping his truck busy. Because you know, a truck like this, if it is sitting still, it's not making any money, and Jesse's not making any money. And then obviously when there's no logs for me to process into firewood, I'm not making any money. What I've been doing is buying firewood already made, and I am almost paying double to get those logs here onto my land. So that's killing my gross profit. I'm still profitable, but I'm not making as much money as I could processing these logs myself with my machines. So, you know, here comes the economics of firewood. And really, it doesn't matter what industry you're in, whether you're a restaurant or you're selling paper clips. You got to buy low and sell high. But in my case, I got to be able to sell something. And I still believe I'm in a growth mode as a company, and I am still securing a customer base. So while I am still new, and I'm going into my 5th winter, I'm in my 4th year. While I am still new, I am willing to take a little bit less profit to secure a customer for life, hoping that the day will come when I can secure a reliable supply and production process that I can then just make a lot of profit off of a cord of firewood, much more than what I've been shooting for right now. I have concluded, guys, that I can sell every stick of firewood that I can get my hands on. And this has been a refrain that I've been saying ever since I started this channel. It is easy to sell firewood. There is a firewood shortage every year. I would suspect that there is not a single stick of firewood in this country that doesn't go unsold. The same thing here, you know, but my approach is to sell my firewood at a high margin. So I'm making a lot of profit off of a smaller quantity. And it all starts right here, man. I would have never thought that I would be losing sleep over log trucks bringing me logs. One of the cruel truths, I think, of this industry. And I don't know when it started, but I suspect that my supply issues started right around 50 cords. When I started getting above 50 cords, oh man, that's when, you know, the wood just wasn't keeping pace. And that is where I had learned, you know, that there is a big difference between production and just making firewood. If you are making firewood and you just want to have 5-10 cords that you're going to sell a year just for side money, you know, that is what I used to do. But man, when I shifted gears from making firewood to production, that's when everything changed. You know, your machines change, your process has to change, the way that you lay out your wood yard, and then obviously procurement, getting your log supply in. Guys, there have been some really nice looking logs coming off this load. They would be ideal for my processor. I have a feeling the Japa 365 is gonna make mincemeat out of these logs, guys. And look at that, just like that, he is done, man. And just like that, log hauler Jesse is done. But you know what? Look at this though. It is mid-October and Jesse's wearing shorts and t-shirt, as am I. And I have a feeling that the weather has played a role in my sales. You know, my sales are down a little bit. I'm still doing very good, but they're down over last year. And I really do think it's because we have not had that blast of cold yet, where everyone has shifted out of summer and now they're thinking of winter, you know, coming up. Log hauler Jesse's coming down, so let's discuss with him this deal. Maybe it can give you guys some insight onto my business logic and then the way Jesse makes money. All right, here we go. All right, we are here with log hauler Jesse. And guys, this has been a deal that me, Jesse, and a third party, a logger, had worked out together. And I think part of it is that I'm starting to get aggressive with my log supply, because and Jesse's getting tired of hearing me crying the blues, you know, where's my logs, man? It happened. I met a logger, and he is working a site up north, just a couple towns up. And I was looking to see if he had any firewood poles, and he said no. He says, however, I am working another site in Akron, which is about 50 miles from here. And he says, I'm hurting. I cannot find a log hauler because they're all, like you said, they're all busy.
Yes, very.
And I says, well, I got a log hauler, and maybe you guys can work something out. So Jesse and this logger talked together, and sure enough.
Yeah.
So in my opinion, guys, like 50 miles is a long drive. But, you know, and this truck, I'm sure, doesn't get very good fuel mileage. So what does this truck get for fuel mileage?
4 miles to the gallon.
That's it.
They call it dragonfly. You fly down one hill and you drag it up the next.
So he's getting 4 miles to the gallon. So Jesse, tell us how you, when you were talking with this logger, and you are doing your own calculations on making this profitable for you. So share that with us.
I'd go by mileage. At 75 to load the truck and 75 off. So it's 150 for the actual loading. And I was at $4 a mile, but with fuel being close to $4, and it's probably only going to go up, I just recently raised it to $5 a mile. So right now, but with Firewood, on this one, I was just helping you out, helping a buddy out to get some, so he can stay. But with Firewood, once you get to 50 or 60 miles, it starts to get into cut into the guy selling the stuff, into his profit, because they usually want to set them out. So once you get out of that 40 to 50 mile range, it starts to get a little bit to the point where sometimes the Firewood guys or the loggers don't want to take a loss on it. So.
So put us in the shoes of the logger then. So walk us through the entire business decisions that a logger makes. So he got a contact from a landowner who wanted their land timbered.
Well, they'll honestly never tell you. You'll never really know what kind of money they're making or not, because a lot of times they'll get paid to clear the lot and they get to keep the material, so they'll give them a lower price for doing that. But sometimes, you know, they actually buy the timber, and then if they buy the timber, the firewood, as long as the trees are pretty straight, it's not too difficult to make some extra money, which will pay for the guys working, or fuel, or you know, a broken tire or whatever. But it all depends on each crew and how they.
When does a log become a saw log, or when does it get sold for firewood?
Right now, saw logs will go down to about 10 inches or so for blocking. So as long as it's not rotten in the middle, chances are they're going to cut it about 8 foot or 7'6" or 8'6" for blocking, or, you know, if it's better material, it'll be great. But anything shorter than that, as long as it's straight, like these here, you know, they're pretty much the tops, but the trees, what I saw, they were pretty straight, pretty tall, and that makes a big difference on firewood. If you have a shorter woods where everything's squattier, you know, a lot of times what happens is they've probably cut the timber down before, and the trees have grown out of the actual base of the root, or what was left, and then they're real squatty. Where these ones, you know, everything seemed real tall, so that's where you can get, you know, the better firewood.
For me, guys, I sell firewood, and I have a firewood processor, so I do not rely on tree service. So I get all my wood from the loggers, and the log haulers bring it to me. So when it's firewood, guys, you know, the going rate, and it varies based on the, you know, the length and how much wood's there, the species.
Yeah.
But you're looking at probably anywhere between $500 to $700, $750 for a triaxle load of these logs. So I'm calculating how many cords I can get out of a load and what I can sell them for. So obviously what I pay for them means a lot. But for the log hauler, you're making your money off of mileage.
Yeah, mileage and actually loading and unloading it.
Mm-hmm. And then do you get paid more though when you're hauling saw logs to the mill or when you're delivering firewood to a guy like me?
Normally the firewood, like I said, they want to keep the cost as low as possible because you can only get so much cord on a truck. So for me, time-wise and everything else, saw logs are my best thing because I'll have, say, 40 logs on here for a load of saw logs, and I'll have 110 for firewood. So that's a lot more lifts, a lot more slinging, better chance to knock your hat off and all that.
Which, that could probably happen, huh? Yeah.
Yeah, it has.
Yeah, so saw logs are faster. You can get them on and off faster. Firewood poles are they take more work.
Right.
Okay.
And it depends on the crew. If the crew's good and they stack them pretty straight and they're not real crooked pieces, it's not too bad. But, you know, like I said, I can usually load and I can unload probably in about 20 minutes, 15 minutes if the logs are real big. Wherever this, you know, you're probably looking at, if it's smaller and you got to kind of tuck them all in together to get a good load, you're probably looking at a half hour.
All right.
So time is money.
Yeah, no joke. I, of course, would know that because I am self-employed. So.
Yeah.
Guys, I just wanted to bring this video to you here because, you know, this is like the business decisions that go on running a firewood operation, and it helps to know how the logger operates and how the logger makes money, how the log hauler operates and makes money. So when I'm wheeling and dealing, I can talk more intelligently and hopefully use that skill that I'm developing to get me more logs, which we all know, you know. And so for me too, I'm very grateful to get these logs, but you know, I'm still not where we need to be. This is just one load. And I'm thinking of 200 cords a year, so that's 6 cords a truck divided in. That's that many truckloads of logs that I need, you know, and I needed them yesterday. So in this case here, we've worked out a deal. This is going to be 3 of these loads coming in, and I'll try to bring you video on all of them. But then after that, Jesse's getting pulled with other loggers to different jobs, but you keep your eyes open though if something comes up, you know.
Yeah. It hasn't been as much as normal because, like I said, the prices are up, and you know, a lot of it's just going to the blocking mills. Mm-hmm.
So I hope that you guys like this, and if I am not making anything clear, please put it in the comments below.
No comprende.
And also, if you got anything specific for log hauler Jesse, put them in the comments too, and I'll get them on the next visit that he gets out here. All right, guys? I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope everyone is having a good day.
A good day.